Okay, good evening, Spartans. Welcome to Stay Home Spartans lockdown session number 30. I would not have thought we would have made it all the way to session number 30, but here we are. So what we've got today is, as almost always, we're going to start off with a little bit of a warm-up. Following that warm-up, we're going to come into a little bit of stability, a little bit of mobility, and then our main section of the workout. Our main section of the workout is literally 12 minutes long, and we'll be done after that, but we've got our warm-up and our mobility before we get to that point. So let's get going. What we're going to start off with is just going to be into a set of walkouts. What I want you to do at the edge of each walkout is just come into, oops, let me just change that for the Zoom video, there we go. What we're going to come into is just a walkout into a press up, back up onto our feet, and each one I want you to add one press up all the way up to 5. Okay, so it's going to be walkout into press up position, back up onto your feet. From there, once you're up, second one becomes walkout, 2 press ups, following that becomes 3, then 4, then 5, working your way up. Now again, if you need to, you can obviously do these where you drop down onto your knees. You can make things a little bit easier. So you can walk out, drop to the knees on the floor, and then it becomes those 4, still back up onto the toes at that point, and then up onto your feet. If you make it all the way to 5, what I want you to do is start again. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're about halfway through, you've got 45 seconds left to go. Just keeping yourself moving, starting to get that heart rate up. It starts to warm up the shoulders, starts to warm up the hips. Just get things moving. About another 30 seconds. Let's just go on. From there, we're going to come into those get-ups. The target in those get-ups is not to use your hands. It's to try and keep your hands off the floor. We're going to be going into those in about 10 seconds. We're just going to go for 1 minute on this, so 60 seconds. Just lying down onto your back up onto your feet in 3, 2, 1. Off we go. So down onto your back up onto your feet. Just alternating between those two. Just lie back, stand back up as often as you can. Now if you can't get back down, you might find that you haven't got the strength and mobility to get yourself down in without using your hands. That's absolutely fine. Just try to minimize using the hands as you go. So again, we are just looking to minimize those hands. So again, just up, down for 60 seconds. You're already 30 seconds in. You got another 30 seconds left to go. Make sure you keep moving. Now, at the end of this one, we're going to come into just a little bit of camel and cat and a little bit of rotation. So just getting things moving. So drop down onto all fours. From that all fours position, all we're going to do is just do a couple of camel and cat. So as you breathe in, look ahead. As you breathe out, look back between your own thighs. So as I breathe in, look ahead. As you breathe out, look back between your own thighs. Don't force the movement. So it's just that arch and round of the back, but we're just working that active range. We're not trying to force it. We're not trying to bend your back unnaturally. Try to do anything there. So once you've done about 5 to 10, just getting things moving, we're going to come into our rotation. So we're just going to come in, reaching under one arm, trying to get the shoulder and the side of your head to the floor, and then up into the air. Just want you to do 5 on each side, so it's that side of the head, back up into the air. And this is quite a nice one, so I'm going to join in for the whole thing. And then same thing on the other side, so it's that rotation, side of the head, arm on the floor, and up into the air. This is good. So, looking into some injury stats over the last week. always exciting, always what you want to know. When it comes to outside contact, okay, so when it comes to outside contact, so when it comes to when you're running, stopping, turning, or falling, the biggest injuries are usually ankle and knee, and then the ones after that are shoulder and wrist. Now that shouldn't really be too much of a surprise. Contact brings up a whole other host of things because obviously there's a lot more external factors, but running and falling are two things that happen in pretty much every ball sport. So anything, whether it is contact, whether it's non-contact, you're going to be running a lot, you're going to be falling, hopefully not as much, but you're going to be falling a bit. You fall on outstretched hands, you can injure shoulder, you can fall, injure ankle, injure knee. Those are your kind of big ones. Obviously you can injure your hip, you can injure your elbow, you can injure all the bits in between, but those are your most common ones. So that is what we're going to look at. That's what we're going to look at. So we've done this one before, and again we're going to keep this dead short. Each one, we're just going to move on in between each one because I want to get the main section done. Just a 12-minute mini block of just a low-level work. It's actually not particularly high intensity today. So what we're going to look at is just 30 seconds. So 30 seconds, I want you to get your heels off the floor. I want you to keep your heels off the floor for 30 seconds. So again, you can just jog on the spot. You can bring your intensity into this. So I can just jog on the spot for 30 seconds, or I can start to bounce, I can start to hop. I'm not letting that heel on either foot touch the floor. But you can try and make it pretty intense. So you can do small hop, big hop, small hop, big hop each time. You can make it as explosive or non-explosive as you want. Try and move different directions because again, all sports are going to move from different directions. You want that stability in every direction. Good, 30 seconds to recover. So again, during this time, grab yourself a drink, whatever you need. We're going to repeat that one again. So again, we've got all different directions. You're going to land, whether it is every step, whether you're jogging, sprinting, you're going to land on your feet. Well, the idea is that you land on your feet anyway. But you've got to be able to move in every direction. You've got to stabilize in every direction. So we're going to go again, another 30 seconds. 3, 2, 1, let's go. So again, any direction, just keep heels off the floor. So again, you've got forward and back. You can put different amounts of pressure. So again, you can do little bits backwards, little bits forwards, or you can start to make it a little bit more explosive, trying to keep heels off the floor. Move in different directions on one foot, on the other foot, on both feet, working together. Time. We're going to do just one more round of that one, just one more round. Now again, if you want to make this even more explosive, absolutely, go for it. But gauge where you're at. Okay, so gauge where you're at. So we're going to go in just 10 more seconds, 10 more seconds. Going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So again, heels off the floor, they stay off the floor. And again, just jogging, try picking up high knees, try picking up heel flicks. Dead easy to stay on the toes there. Obviously, if you're outside, maybe you've got a little bit more room, try and practice actually jogging, try and move, try and get around the place, but keeping your heels off the floor. All those different directions. I tend to get a little bit of trouble with right ankle, so I try to keep it, tend to do a little bit more work on it. Time, there you go, 30 seconds, 3 blocks, 30 seconds, job done on that one. We're going to take that into a little single leg deadlift. We did this in part of last week's workout. I think it was last Monday, I'm not 100% sure. What we're going to come into, single leg deadlift into knee drive. So down, as you come up, knee comes up in front. Now this is your kind of basic version. We've done this before. If you want to add weight to it, great, go for it. We're going to go for 1 minute on each side, so starting the timer now. That's your basic version. If you want to add a couple of dumbbells, a couple of kettlebells, you can do so. Whoops, it isn't. But obviously balance is your key factor. If you do fall over, you do wobble, no big deal. Once you've done that there, if you think that's pretty easy, try and add in a calf raise at the top. So as I bring the knee up onto the toes. There we go, there's me wobbling on that one. Again, that stretch out, do the hamstring, as you come up, knee comes up onto the toes. Good, so it's that little calf raise each time. Once you've done 1 minute on this side, so you've got another 30 seconds. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're only going to do one round on this one. It is on you on this one. So, again, we stretch out back, and then as you come forward, knee comes up and up onto the toes each time. So we're stretching out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch sides. So again, basic version. Whoopsie daisy. Well off on that one. Not quite. So basic version, stretch down into that hamstring stretch. As you come up, knee comes up. So again, not every rep has to be perfect, because it's not going to be perfect on the field. You want to be strong through all ranges. One thing I forgot to mention on the other side, this leg, this standing leg, ever so slightly bent, so it's not locked out. Okay, so slight bend. Again, if you want to make it more challenging, as the knee comes up onto the toes, regain your balance, back down, knee comes up onto the toes, back down. Each time. So, another 20 seconds of that one. Working through. So this is where we're trying to work ankles, knees, using the hamstrings to kind of support those kind of movements. Excuse me. Time. So from there, we're going to come into a single leg bridge. So bring the mat back into place. Single leg bridge, we've done before. Let me see, actually, sorry. Just turn that sideways so you can see a little bit better. You're going to be lying on your back, 1 foot on the floor, 1 foot up into the air. All I want you to do, we're just going to alternate for 2 minutes, where I want you to do single leg bridge. So just pushing hips up into the air, 5 on the right side, 5 on the left, and keep alternating. Going in 3, 2, 1, off we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Finishing on 5, switch sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And again, switch sides. So just that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to do just one more set. I want you guys to keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. As soon as you've done 2 minutes, so you guys are going to keep going. So right and left, right and left. Sorry, 5 right, 5 left for 2 full minutes, guys. For 2 full minutes. Right. Looking good, guys. This weather for the touch is carrying on. Long may it continue. Although I suspect, having said that, that might be the end of it now. I might have jinxed you all. But again, let's do what we can. So again, we're still doing 5 right, 5 left. 5 right, 5 left. So again, you support, you work the glutes, bum muscles, that helps support the knee, okay? So your glutes have a couple of actions, okay? So one pulls the leg back, one pulls the leg slightly out, but also it rotates the leg. Helps rotate, if I meant to step back, it helps rotate that leg. That helps keep your knee in a much more stable position. If your glutes aren't working and your knee drops in, so you can tell, if I was to do that, land very awkwardly, puts a lot of pressure through the knee joint, and means that I am more at risk of injury. Doesn't guarantee injury, just means you're more at risk of it. So keeping those working, keeping those active is a good idea where possible. Good, relax. What we're going to look at now is just a little bit of stability, a little bit wrist and shoulder at the same time. So we've done this one before. I'm going to back off onto the mat to show you. What we're going to look at is just 1 minute, dead easy, 1 minute. And all I want you to do is just work in a press up position and just gradually shift your weight from side to side and just start to turn the hands as far as they'll come and just work back each time. So from there, 1 minute starts now. Off you go. So it's just that press up position. Just lift one hand, turn it slightly. When you reach that, as much as you can, turn the opposite direction as far as you can, and then work between those two. Now you can do that in 2 positions. One's the press up that we've just done, or I've just demoed. The other position is your bear squat. Now this is quite a good one for forwards, particularly in the for the contact area, for scrums, for mauls, that body position. knees off the floor, but it's the same exercise. So you turn the hands, you build that strength, you build that wrist mobility in different body positions. You've got 15 seconds remaining. Just keep alternating between the two of those. And then we've got, that is us in terms of mobility. That is us in terms of mobility. Last couple of seconds. And time. So, like I said, guys, before, we are coming into just 6 minutes of work. So those 6 minutes are super simple. In theory, they're super simple, I should say. What we are going to look for is 6 minutes of plank. 6 minutes of plank. However, if you fail on the plank, and you may fail, all you're going to have to do is you're going to have to do 5 burpees within the first 2 minutes. If you fail in the middle 2 minutes, you're going to do 5 burpees and 5 squat jumps. If you fail in the final 2 minutes, you're going to do 5 burpees, 5 squat jumps, and 5 press-ups. So we're going to build up to all 3 of those things. However, if you don't fail on any of them, if you can hold a 6 minute long plank, boom, you are done. You do not have to do anything else. You do not have to do anything else. Every time you complete those little mini circuits, that is it. You move back into the plank straight away, okay? So if you fail, let's say you fail 3 times within the first 2 minutes, you will end up doing 15 burpees. That makes sense? Hopefully it does. Let's get going, guys. Okay, so we're going to go into that plank in 3, 2, 1. Off we go. Let's go. So we're straight into that plank. Timer is already running. I'm going to try and hold that solid body position. Now, if I can hold that for 6 minutes, which I suspect, even if I wasn't going to fail on purpose to demo something for you, I don't think I'd be holding this for 6 minutes. Now, if I fail, so if my knees touch the floor, I don't know whether I can see that in the video, if my knees touch the floor, or if I do even collapse up out of it, what I'm going to do immediately is on my feet. Because it's the first 2 minutes, I'm going into 5 burpees, so hands down, feet out, feet in. 3, 4, 5. Okay, I've done those 5. I'm straight back into that plank. So again, belly button pulled in. Feeling that brace through the core. Try and keep your looking down directly at your thumbs. You're not doing this where you're pushing your hips up into the air. You're looking directly down. Relax there. Looking good. So again, that's for the first 2 minutes. We're 1 minute and 10 seconds in. If you fail a second time, or fail a third time, or a fourth time, you will just continue to do another 5 burpees. Another 5 burpees. The good news is, the timer does not stop. So while you're doing the burpees, it is eating into your time, eating into those six long minutes, those 6 long minutes. So, got 15 more seconds. So 15 more seconds. And at that point, we're going to add in another exercise into that failure. So from this point right now, so from this point, if you fail again, you must do those 5 burpees plus 5 squat jumps, okay? So hips down and explode up high as you can off the floor each time, okay? Obviously, if you are in an apartment, in a flat, where you don't want to be making the noise on the floor downstairs, just turn it into 10 regular bodyweight squats, okay? Just change that up slightly. But for anybody that is in their own house, they don't have to worry too much about making noise. It is 5 burpees plus 5 squat jumps over the next 2 minutes. So the good news is that will eat into your time a little bit more and therefore give you a longer rest from that plank. But if I was to fail, so say I've done my plank, I've come out, I've done my 5 burpees, I've done my 5 squat jumps, I'm straight back into that plank again. Straight back into it as quickly as I can. There you go, you've reached the halfway point, So 3 minutes in, 3 minutes left to go. And again, with that plank, I think I've said it in previous classes, it should feel like somebody has put on a belt. somebody has tied a little rope around you and just notched it a little bit too tight. It shouldn't feel like it's squeezing you to death. You should be able to breathe relatively comfortably. However, if you can't, you should be able to breathe in that position, but you should be aware that your core is squeezing just ever so gently, pulling in. If anything, it should be the shoulders, it should be the arms, or it should be the legs that is tired out, not necessarily the core. So again, 15 more seconds, and then we go into our last failure. Our last failure, third exercise to add into it. Our third exercise to add into it is going to be 5 press-ups. So I think I said that at the start, but what we've got, like I said, 5 burpees, 5 squat jumps, and 5 press-ups on every failure. Now that becomes, okay, we're adding that in from now. So we're 4 minutes in, going to 2 minutes left to go. 4 minutes in, 2 minutes left to go. So again, every failure, every time you stop, anytime your knee hits the floor, anytime your belly hits the floor, anytime you relax out of that plank, that is a failure, okay? Be strict on yourself. Try and push yourself on this one. Because especially, it's a YouTube video. It's a YouTube video, okay? So we've only got one person on the Zoom session right now. That's the only person I can see. It is up to you to try and push yourself to that point. And obviously, as long as you're working hard, you will see results in your fitness. Just because you don't do the perfect amount, just because you don't do a plank for 6 minutes, doesn't mean that you're not going to see gains, doesn't mean that you're not going to get any benefit out of this session. It is up to you though to get as much benefit as you can from this session. You've got less than a minute remaining, So again, every plank fail becomes 5 burpees, 5 squat jumps, and then immediately straight down into those 5 press-ups. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. So again, you think of just really simple press-ups, one of my favorite exercises. They are awful. They're awful. No one likes press-ups, but they're one of my favorites because really simply, it allows your shoulders to move. It allows your shoulders to move. It really helps build up sort of tendon, ligament strength, especially when they're done regularly, done for higher reps. I've seen quite a few of you guys, and thankfully nobody's nominated me. The 25 push-ups for 25 days. You know, you'll be feeling tired through the muscles, but you will have done a lot to help stabilize, to help build up around the tendons and ligaments. And time, there you go, 6 minutes, done, 6 minutes done. So you can rest out of that plank, you are done in that plank. Now, we're going to come on to the next one. So, give you about a minute's rest, so grab yourself a drink, maybe a little bit longer. What we're going to come into this time is another static exercise, but we're going to try and make it as athletic as possible. So, if you play the contact version of the game, if you play full contact, you will know that your position of power is from 90 degrees and up. Okay, so if you find yourself, actually let me quickly demo. If you find yourself in a scrum, in a maul, in anything where your knees are bent like that, you're in trouble because it is going to be very difficult for you to push effectively in that direction. However, if you find yourself in that position, you will find you are pretty strong. You can actually drive right out into that position each time. So from that 90 degrees up, that's what we're going to try and work on. We're going to work in a static squat. So it's going to be feet just hip width apart, toes pointed forward, and dropping into a quarter squat, a half squat. We're going to try and hold that position for 6 minutes. So from the side, I am not in a deep squat, not this time. I am just going to be in a quarter squat. Now that is challenging enough on its own, but this one you have to be really strict with. So we're going to go for it in 3, 2, 1, off we go, let's go. So again, really strict with it because even that will make it feel so much easier. So make sure you are super strict with it. Don't allow yourself to collapse forward. Try and keep chest up, stay tight through the core as you do it. Really shallow stance, really narrow stance, because again, you think about when you are running, you don't run with your legs really, really wide apart. You run with your legs quite close together. So that's those are the stations we're going to try and work in. That's the principle. Don't brace off the knees. You can let your hands rest there, that's fine. Just don't push off, don't hold yourself there. Keeping that chest up. So again, you can see Bank of Ireland written across my top at all times, okay? If I get to the stage where I'm starting to drop and you lose sight of that, that's going to be, again, another failure. Think about screwing your feet into the floor. If you do fail, this is just like the previous round. If you fail within the first 2 minutes, 5 burpees again, okay? So 5 burpees if you fail within the first 2 minutes. We're a minute gone already, a minute gone already. So again, if I was to fail, so that would be to stand up. Obviously, there's the other failure as well, is to collapse all the way to the floor. I would go straight into those 5 burpees, okay? Again, you can challenge yourself on these. You know, and this goes at all levels. Now, obviously, the guys that have been doing it regularly on the Zoom, obviously, they are all a fairly decent level of fitness, but that doesn't mean that it's inaccessible to anybody else. So your burpees, you could do your most explosive version. You could do a chest to floor burpee with a tuck jump, so it would be hands down, chest onto the floor, explode up, knees right up into the chest. You could do tuck jumps. That's absolutely fine. However, if you're not at that level, I think I might die if I did more than one of those. You can go into just chest to floor. Okay, so chest onto the floor, back up onto your feet. Again, if you're not at that level, you can go for straight arm. So it's just hands down, feet out, feet in, jump up. Again, if you're not at that level, you can even do hands down, step out, step in, stand up. If you're not at that level, you can even have your hands elevated. So just hands down, feet out, feet in, stand up. Work as hard as you personally can. There is always an option. Okay guys, so if you fail from this point onwards, we're 2 minutes in. So if you fail from this point onwards, you have got your 5 burpees, whatever variation you want, on your 5 squat jumps, Now they are going to be tough because your legs are going to be tired. Okay, so you've got your 5 burpees, then your 5 squat jumps. So there is always a progression and regression when it comes to exercise. So whenever you'll often hear said about rugby that it's a game for all shapes and sizes, and there's a position for everybody on the field, for every skill set. You know, whether you are, you know, big, slow, heavy and strong, or whether you are skinny, light and super quick, you know, there is a job for you somewhere on the rugby field. Okay, so you can play no matter what your type. Now that is something that I firmly believe when it comes to training as well, guys. Okay, so everybody is capable of doing training in the gym, every single person. So it just is a matter of adaptations, a matter of changes, a matter of edits to make it fit. Just because you cannot do something that somebody else is doing in the gym does not mean that you can't work out in the gym, okay, that you cannot get fitter. It's just a matter of adapting things to your level. So I've gone through a couple of things for the burpees. So again, if you fail within this 2 minutes, it's almost at the end of this 2 minutes, it's 5 burpees and 5 squat jumps. Obviously that eats into your time. When we pass the 4 minute mark, which is just about to come up, you have got the trio, the triad, the everything together, okay? So the 5 burpees, the 5 squat jumps and the 5 press ups, okay? Ready and off we go. So we're in the final 2 minutes of this session as well, guys. Okay, so final 2 minutes of this block and also final 2 minutes of the session. So again, press ups is another real good option. Okay, so just while we're doing this, you know, you can do press ups again from the toes. Not even the hardest version of press ups, but you can do press ups from the toes, chest onto the floor and back up. Great. If you aren't at that level, you can do things. If that's too easy for you, put your feet up on something, put your feet on a chair, put your feet on a step, be slightly upside down so your head is lower than your feet. That makes it more challenging. You know, you want to get ultimate with it, you know, go all full CrossFit style, go on a handstand up against the wall and do it that way with your hands on the floor, feet up on the wall. 1 minute remaining, 1 minute remaining. However, based on the floor, if you can't do it on your toes, your next option could be to go from the knees. So my knees are on the floor, okay? So I'm going from the knees, that makes it a little bit easier. If I can't do that, I tuck my knees in and I leave my bum up in the air. So I'm only lifting and lowering my upper body. Same again if you want to do the same thing, and you could repeat this again at another level. So again, if I've got something in the background like a step or a set of stairs, you can come into hands on. If that's too hard, and it might be, drop onto your knees. You can grade these things. If even that's too hard, you could do a version where you have hands on the wall. There. That's your beginner version, your absolute beginner. And again, you think about, position-wise, you think about, your own body weight. Press up is lifting your own body weight. If you're bigger, if you're stronger, if you are 6 foot tall, you've never done any training before. Somebody says you're a forward. That's because you're big and round. You can start off lifting your body weight like this. And if you are big enough, I guarantee you'll be lifting more weight than some of the smaller guys being right down on the floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time, guys. Time. So, really low intensity today. Just working through it. Little bursts, 2 6-minute bursts. That is us for today. So, like I said, that's a bit of the feedback that I've had, and I think it's actually really, really useful, is that a lot of these seem like they're really, really high intensity. Don't be afraid to message me, guys, okay? If you think to yourself, do you know what, I can't do this is too hard. Message me. It's meant to be hard, of course, but message me, because there are adaptations you can make to every single workout, okay? And if you want to do one, I will help you find those adaptations. So message me at Neil Gallagher Training on Facebook or Instagram, so it's at Neil Gallagher Training on both of those. Alternatively, if you do have any feedback, message your captains, message your coaches. They will get that feedback to me, and I will try and include it in future sessions. So, for the guys that have caught up from Touch on Monday, great job. If you haven't caught up yet, I'll see you on Wednesday anyway for session number 31. Can you believe it? 31. Right, this is Neil signing off. I'm off to get some food. Bye.